Okay, we've got two bows here today that we're going to be comparing. I've done these bow fish and bow comparison videos before, but I've never done either one of these bows. I was going to actually throw osprey in the mix too, but the osprey that I have, the draw length isn't nowhere near the length it needs to be for a fair comparison. Now, we have two bows here. The reason I decided to do this is because I saw where somebody was asking a comparison between the G-string Rex and the deadweight Leviathan. And since I own a Rex and my buddy owns a Leviathan, I thought, well, it'd be a good opportunity to go ahead and do a comparison of these two. Because other than the osprey out there, these are the two big boys out there in the playground that everybody's shooting or wanting to shoot if they're not. So I figured I'd compare them. Well, I run into a small problem. The Leviathan is a medium, which basically means it's a 27 to 29 inch draw. And the Rex is a long, which means it's a 29 to 30 inch draw. So what I was thinking was, since Leviathan does not have any limb stops on it, that I could just shoot it at 29 inches, and then I could use my draw stops on the Rex to stop it at 29. Well, when I got the Leviathan on the board, it actually is 30 inches. Well, I went back to take my limb stops out here to put this at 30, and even the limb stops out, it's actually only 29 and a half. So we were a half an inch difference in the draw length on these, which gives a little bit, if you know anything about bows, a half inch in draw length is roughly 5 feet per second in speed. So we can look for this to have at least a 5 feet per second advantage on the Leviathan here. But even though this is a long and this is a medium, when you actually compare them tip to tip, let's see if I can get this right, the Rex is actually a bit shorter. Actually, it's 41 and a half, and the Leviathan is 42 and 7/8 tip to tip. These versions, I know that on the website, they give the Leviathan a little bit different tip to tip than what I got, but with this setup, that's what we have. So, going to be fairly close comparison, I think. Even though they're not, like I said, apples to apples, it should be pretty close. There's also a difference in the brace height. So the brace height on the Rex is a little bit shorter than the brace height on the Leviathan. That should give, typically brace height gives you a little bit more speed, but less forgiving. But the difference in these two isn't very much at all. So I don't think that will play into it. But we're going to shoot both of these. I've got them set up, other than the half inch difference in draw, they're both set up for 32.8 pounds, because that's where I was able to get the poundage along with the tiller and everything and tuned. That was the poundage that I ended up with. Both of them are ready to shoot. We're going to put them on the scales right here just to make sure we're still at 32.8. And then we'll go from there. Also, while we're here, let's just see, pull this out of the wall a little bit here. It kind of bounces between 3.7, 3.9. So I'm figuring it's probably 3.8-ish on the Rex, and the Leviathan, I think it's 3.6-ish. 3.5 to 3.7, so figure about 3.6. You know, about 0.2 pounds difference in them. Let's go ahead and check the weight. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that from there. We'll try, but ooh, you do that. 32.8. Back down, so that one's good at 32.8. And 32.8. Yep. Both 32.8. Also, when I did that, I just realized it. This one actually has 80% let off, and this one is 25% let off. So again, that gives a little bit of an edge to the Leviathan. I'm thinking that we're going to see, other than the differences in the draw length, the 5 feet per second there, and the let off, this should be very, very close. There'll probably be, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, 6 pounds difference in them, I'm thinking. I have heard that the Leviathan shoots a good bit faster than a Rex, but that's not my experience. I'm not sure how they was comparing them. I would really love to have a large Leviathan to compare to this Rex, or at least get them closer to the exact same draw length to be sure. But anyway, we've got a chrono over here, and it is a new one. It's not the one I have been using. It's a Lab Radar LX, and it actually has the new firmware on it, so I don't have to worry about using the microphone. But what we're going to do is we're going to shoot 5 shots from each of these. We're going to drop the highest and lowest, and then we're going to average the 3 remaining shots, just so that we can get a good average of it and make sure that we're getting a good comparison. But we're going to go ahead with the Rex first. I shoot 2 under. Oh, helps if you turn it on. Sorry. There we go. Now, I am concentrating on not hitting the chrono, so not quite sure what I'm gonna be hitting down range on the target. 110.2 for the first shot. .3, second shot. I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see it. I'm gonna try to show the phone screen. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it where the camera's at. 113.7. .9. That is 4 shots. Yep. Last shot. 109.5. That's the Rex. Like I said, we'll drop the highest and lowest and average the 3 remaining. Let's go with Leviathan now. See what it does. So we're kind of looking at, let's see what she does. Whoa, I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and start another series. That way I can just share that whole series. 8, number 11. And arm. There we go. Let's see what we get. 5 shots from the Leviathan now. We'll tell you that draws a little different. Didn't register. Let's shoot that one again. It didn't register. Well, Try that one more time. Let's start another series. Maybe I didn't hit that one quite right. Is it on? It's still on. This is some beta version on this chrono. There we go. 1077. Okay. Pretty close. I would have thought it had been a little bit faster with the draw length. Because like I said, I've heard people say that they shoot a good bit faster. I was expecting a different outcome. Let's go again. Didn't register that one either. I may have to go back to using the microphone. Or I know what I probably did. I may have to start this whole video over. Yeah. Let's see. No, there we go. That's pretty consistent though. 1079. One 10.8. It's got a better average than the Rex so far. One 11.2. Let's see, that makes how many? 4? So we get one more. So it looks like it is got a better average, but by just a few feet per second it appears, which is understandable. Ooh, 115.4. That's nice. That's understandable with the half-inch longer draw. What we're going to do is we're going to look at these right quick, right here. Let's see, in this series we got 115, 110. Let's just write them down. Shot 5 was 115. Shot 4 was 1.2. 110.8. 107.9 and 107.7. Now let's go to that's the same series. Let's see, 5 shots there. All right, here we go. This one is 110.2, 106.3, 113.7, 107.9, and 109.5. So if we take it and we're going to drop the highest and the lowest on both of them, highest, lowest. Let's see what our average is. .2 plus. Equals 3. That gives me 109.2 versus a Huh. 109 point, let's just say 110. So I guess there's not much difference at all between them. And if you was to give this the extra ½ inch on the draw for this one, then it would actually outshoot the Leviathan. Now, this one has 25% let off, this one has 80% let off, this is 29.5 inch draw, this is 30 inch draw, this one has a brace height of, what was it, 5.5, this is, or excuse me, 5 3/16, and this one's 5.5. So it's not apples to apples, but shooting the same poundage out of them, they're shooting nearly identical the way they're set up. If this one had the extra ½ inch, yeah, I think it would still be a matter of just a couple feet per second in both of them. I don't think there'd be that much of a difference, which is surprising because I have heard that this one is up to 15 to 20% faster. I don't see that now. I just ran the test on this chrono. We've got the results right here. So then it actually boils down to which one do you like better. Now there are pros and cons. These bows have been out for a while. With them being out for a while, there's a lot of them out there, and sometimes it's hard to get a hold of them to get things you need. Sometimes it's not. I've contacted Joey before and had him ship stuff straight out, but then again, I've also left messages and been several days before he got back to me. These guys are pretty on top of it. They'll answer you within usually minutes when you got a question. So will they end up being, once they get as many bows out there as G-String does, it'll probably be the same, I think. They're both companies that do this for us bow fishermen. They're both great companies and both make great bows. I would shoot either one of them. Now, as far as design-wise, one thing about the Rex that I'm not a big fan of is your mount right here for your reel seat. I think it's because the bow's so small that they got to have it the way it is. You basically have to buy a reel seat specifically for it, which means if you shoot gargods like I do, it's basically a gargod that's reversed, swapped, but it works just fine. I like the smaller handle. These have a really big handle. Some people may like the bigger handle, I don't know, but to me, I like the smaller handle. I like the milling on this one, the limbs. They got the holes through them. I like that. The fish skulls or whatever you want to call them. That's pretty neat. Not a huge fan. I could do with it or without it, but both bows are completely customizable, so not a lot of difference there. I think either one you bought, you'll be happy with. I like that this one's a little bit shorter. Weight-wise, it's a touch heavier, but if they was to do a little bit of milling, I mean, simply the milling that they did on these outers right here, if this had this outer, the weight may be pretty close. I mean, there's not much difference anywhere else that I can see. So my personal favorite is this. I just like a shorter bow. Even in my deer hunting, I use a short axle to axle bow. I just always like short bows, even though I have a long draw, 29.5 inch draw. With bow fishing bows, a lot of times when you get with that shorter tip to tip, you start getting a lot of finger pinch. That's why I can't shoot a gnat. I've had a couple of those and it worked real good for me because of the finger pinch. I ended up building the L gnats out of 2 bows that were gifted to me. They work good because they're basically a gnat, but they're longer tip to tip. So if you have a really long draw, you may want to go with the bow that's a little bit longer. And like I said, this is a long. So this is the longest version of this one. So if you're shooting more than the 29.5, I think is what this ended up being. Shooting more than that, it could get a little uncomfortable. Again, also depends on how you shoot, because I shoot 2 under, so I don't have as much pinch. If you shot 1 over 2 under, this will probably give you a little bit more pinch than you really want. So my recommendation is to go out, Find somebody who's got these bows and shoot them. That's the way you're going to tell it. Personally, if I was telling somebody to buy it, I'd say, hey, buy the Rex. Just simply because I like the short axle. You could get the let off. I like the let off, and I like the way the let off works on the G-Rex. It's kind of it's not all of a sudden drop off. It's casual all the way back. So anyway, hopefully this information helped you. Hopefully it gave you some information that you can use to decide which one you want to buy. Either way, both bows are amazing bows, and both bows are amazing companies. So buy whichever one you want, get out there and shoot some fish.